Back in the days before the internet, when classified advertisements were very popular, this little ad took the hobby industry by storm, making an amazing claim, basically, that an ingenious drive system would spin all props. Could it be true? Well, this JU-52 prototype soon became kit number TM-1 of the Chris Prod Industries line. The Cant Z1007 Alcione and the Avro Lancaster completed the original trio of the Chris Prod Industries line. Years later, in October 2013, the Lancaster, broken, was reassembled and the drive system was demonstrated in this video. Powered up. Building on the successful sales performance of the first three additional kits were added, as seen in the back row of this photograph. They were the Dornier Do 335 in unique push-pull configuration, the Ford Tri-Motor, for which I obtained a special license from the Ford Motor Company to use the Ford name, and the Mitsubishi Ki-46. These prototypes still survive today in mostly good condition. Up in the attic is what's left of the kit part inventory. Without the internet, it was required to purchase suitable parts at hardware stores, for example, and then contact the companies according to the packaging to obtain bulk quantities. Since I lived only a mile away from the famous Paul K. Guillo balsa aircraft factory, they were more than willing to supply the plastic propellers, thrust bearings, and wheels. These are all that remain of that original 1991 inventory, now over 30 years old. Amazingly, these prices shown on the box included shipping within the U.S. I hand-constructed all of these boxes, and they suffered perhaps a 10% damage rate because of the long shape. I believe it was for an additional $5 I would ship these internationally, and they went all over the world. The following year saw the first full-bodied kit from Chris Prod Industries, kit number TM-7. This time, instead of pulleys and belts, a spiral spring was utilized to transmit the rubber motor power. I refer to this novel method of transmitting rubber power through a spiral spring as the angular drive mechanism. I was inspired by the spiral spring beneath this tabletop hockey game, which our family enjoyed for many years and which I still have. Compared to typical commercially available kits, I opted for 1/8 inch balsa construction. The philosophy was thicker parts but fewer of them. The prototype was clad in very thin 1/16 inch balsa sheet and sanded down paper thin. As I was drafting this plan, an unbelievable coincidence occurred. I lived about 10 miles from an airport, and it wasn't uncommon to hear aircraft passing over, and I could tell by the sound if it was an antiquated aircraft or not. Well, one day, during the drafting of this plan, I heard what I thought was some old engines. I went out to take a look, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was actually the now well-known D-AQUI JU-52 flying over my neighborhood. and I watched in amazement. I went for my camera, and I had no film. It circled my neighborhood, and then I was treated to a low pass, maybe 50 feet above the trees, directly over my house. Think one day you're in your house drawing an elephant, and then all of a sudden an elephant walks down your street. That's the kind of incredible coincidence I'm talking about. On that day, that plane flew over my house. I was amazed. Here it goes. In 2014, I created short kits of the 6 original profile models and offered them on eBay. These consisted of the 1991 vintage parts packets and instructions and balsa patterns, minus the balsa sheets. Lastly, there was the Reusasaurus, which I called an almost kit, meaning it contained the balsa and the hardware, instructions, and parts patterns, but you, the builder, were required to gather common household materials to complete the project, which made this a unique and fun and challenging kit which parents and children could do together to learn the benefits of recycling.